Okay, here's the PowerPoint that I showed in class today, just as a review of photosynthesis versus aerobic cellular respiration. First question I wanted you to do was what is the equation of photosynthesis? And of course, it's light energy, hence photo. You have some CO2 coming in. You have water. Those are the starting points, or the reactants. And we end up with C6H12O6 and oxygen. Of course, if we put names to those, which you know, carbon dioxide and water are the reactants, and glucose, simple sugar, and oxygen are the end products. And so there we go. And those terms, reactants and products, are just very simple. That in any chemical reaction, the things you start with are the reactants. In this case, the only chemical reactants here are carbon dioxide and water. Third question here is what are the chemical products of photosynthesis? And again, products, like when you build something at the end, is a product. In this case, it's just glucose and oxygen. The end point of any chemical reaction is a product. And as we learned earlier when we talked about cell organelles, where does this process occur, this reaction occur, photosynthesis? Well, it occurs in the chloroplast. And in these pictures, these cells, which happen to be plant cells, you see the cell wall, is chloroplast. And here is the picture of Eladia with lots of chloroplasts here in the interior, and you can see the cell wall there very nicely too, so chloroplast. This question says, well, what is the equation for aerobic cellular respiration? As soon as you see aerobic, you think oxygen. So there's our O2. We add some sugar, and then we break that down to release water and carbon dioxide, which, by the way, are things that we're breathing out right now. And of course, we're getting ATP, which is the whole point of any type of respiration, to break down food, like from sugars, fats, whatever, to a form that we can use, which in this case is ATP. As we put names to them, again, oxygen, glucose, water, and carbon dioxide. Reactants, oxygen and glucose, and the products, of course, are water and carbon dioxide. And now where does this reaction occur? Where does aerobic cellular respiration occur? Well, these little bean guys down here, aka mitochondria, and there's some here. And here's a nice little picture, cartoon picture of a larger mitochondria. Now, interesting question is, well, we so much stress green plants that they carry out photosynthesis, and of course they have chloroplasts here. There's 3 of them, 4 of them here actually. But do they actually have mitochondria? And the answer is yes, they do. And that's because it's very simple. Plants carry out photosynthesis. They make glucose from the carbon dioxide and water, but remember, glucose is not in a form that life can use. We have to change it to ATP. And therefore, plants are constantly using their mitochondria, just like animal cells are, to make ATP. Last point of this would be to, well, make a comparison between photosynthesis and aerobic cellular respiration. And we look at photosynthesis here, again, light energy plus water and carbon dioxide, and you end up with glucose and oxygen. And here's aerobic cellular respiration. And if you compare the two, as many have noticed, and we talked about in class, that the reactants, CO2 and water of photosynthesis, are the products of respiration and vice versa. And so you can see how, again, carbon dioxide and oxygen kind of switch places, and of course the same holds true for the glucose and the water. So end of story, and that's a pretty big concept which can go a long way.